and welcome to the annual general meeting for Oak Tree Retirement Village, Skye. My name is Nick, and I am one of the financial accountants that look after the villages here at Oak Tree. As noted in the AGM pack previously provided to you, due to the impact of COVID-19 and the various travel restrictions, we have unfortunately had to deliver the AGM for FY21 through video. The format of this recording will be the same as one delivered in person, and we will be following the agenda that was outlined in the notice of meeting previously delivered to you. Prior to working through the agenda, we will go over the annual meeting guidance, which provides a refresher of the different types of funds. So starting with Annexure 1, firstly we have the village account. The village account is funded through the residents' recurrent charges and covers all village expenses such as wages, rates, water, electricity, insurance, gardening and community centre amenities. It also provides fund for the quantity surveyor reports, which provide guidance over 10 years. The quantity surveyor carry out site visits every 3 years and will update the report alternating every 2 years. Moving through to the Maintenance Reserve Fund, or the MRF, again, this is covered through the residents' recurrent charges and covers all the preventative and ad hoc maintenance throughout the village. It essentially acts as a sinking fund in a normal body corporate strata type situation, where a portion of funds are put away for this year's maintenance as well as future years. Examples of this include items such as gate repairs, oven repairs, termite pest control, garden mulch and painting. Lastly, capital replacement. Oak Tree funds the replacement of all capital items in the village as per the legislation. So moving through the agenda, we will now go to point 1, which is an explanation of any material variances between expenditure from the FY21 and 2020 year. Before we start, just to note that the audit opinion of BDO is that they believe that the accounts are fairly represented as of the 30th of June 2021. So we'll start with the village profit and loss. So noting here that the general service charge for FY 2021 that was collected was $276,849. So moving through to community centre amenities. So this includes items such as community centre cleaning, as well as telephone, internet and computer running costs. In FY21, this was $3,312 lower than FY20, and the major decrease relates to telephone and internet. As in FY20, the expense included equipment charges, i.e. handset charge, dongle charges, whilst in the current financial year, these are no longer included. The next line, gardening services and general maintenance. This line includes the labour for items such as gardening and maintenance, as well as the relevant supplies and pest control. This is decreased by $3,274 between the financial years, and this is just lower due to a lower level of repairs and maintenance being needed to carry out during the village. Repairs and maintenance are ad hoc in nature, and it is difficult to forecast exactly what will happen. So moving through to insurance, so public and property insurance. So just to note here that this is insurance that Oak Tree cannot control, and it has come in $7,092 higher than the last financial year. However, each year at renewal time, Oak Tree will test the market in order to obtain the level of coverage we require whilst at the best possible price. However, insurance premiums are rising across the board. However, lobbying has begun at the industry level to try and stem some of these costs. And lastly, moving through to occupancy costs. So occupancy costs are $12,466 higher in the current financial year than the last financial year, and this is predominantly due to the sewer and waste charges. In the current year, the fixed rate has increased, and there's also been an increase in the waste management costs, and this is predominantly due to a higher number of times per month that the village is serviced, as well as a higher rate per servicing. So moving through to the village balance sheet on the next page. Just to note here, the bank account as of the 30th of June was $65,974. So, a healthy number of funds there for the village day-to-day expenses. Moving through to the next page, the notes. Just to note here with note 3, there were no insurance claims in the current year. So we'll move to the Maintenance Reserves Fund profit and loss. So first thing to note is that the contributions that the residents have made is $44,264, and this again comes out of your weekly fees. So moving through to fire equipment services, so this came in $2,244 lower than the prior financial year, And the major expense in FY20 was the general service of the smoke alarms throughout the village, whilst there was also an overhaul of the fire hydrants. Due to timing, these expenses have not occurred in the current year. Gate repairs. This line came in $3,171 higher in FY21 than FY20. And the work carried out in the current year relates to major repairs to the gate, including replacement of the gear rack plus labour for that overhaul. There was also additional service to the timer and the gate sensor. So moving through to general repairs, again this was $3,171 higher in FY20 than FY21 than FY20, and this is just primarily due to the replacement of the loop sensor. So this is an embedded sensor on the road that allows the gate to detect vehicles. There was also the replacement of the shade sails in the car park. So moving through to painting and pressure cleaning, noting that these items have had zero spend in the current year, and this is just the nature of the MRF. Sometimes the work is not required in the current year. However, as noted before, the funds will remain there for when they are needed. So moving through to external clean of the villas. So this was $6,468 higher than FY20, and this is just due to the timing of the work and scope, noting that it was not planned to be carried out every year, and hence there is an expense there last year, whereas it didn't exist this year. And this is just representative of the labour required to carry out this work. And lastly, on the MRF, the QS report. So this is the spend for the update that the QS provide. And what this does is this forecasts the level of maintenance and capital works that the village requires over the next 10 years. As noted before, it's updated every alternating 2 years, and hence the expense didn't occur this year, whilst it has in this year. So moving through to the other agenda points. Agenda point 2, any changes to the proposed 2021 annual budget that did not require residents' consent? There were no changes. 3, any proposal for capital works that were not notified in the 2022? There are no proposal for capital works. 4, other items including any proposed maintenance plans. There are no proposed changes to maintenance plan for the village. 5, future plans for the village including any proposed improvements. There are no proposed changes to the maintenance plan. 6, any change or proposed change to the management of the village. There are no proposed changes, and Oak Tree will remain the operator. 7, any proposed changes to the level of service provided to the residents. There are no proposed changes. 8, any safety issues. As of the date of recording, there are no safety issues that you need to be notified of. And 9, we have time for questions lodged in advance. However, at the time of recording, there was no questions lodged in advance. However, what we invite you to do is after the meeting is have another read of the financials, and if there are any questions that you have, please submit them in writing to your village manager, who will then forward them to finance. Finance will then send out a collated set of minutes for the village to all residents that they can see answers to all questions asked. And with that, I'll call this to a close, and thank you for watching the AGM for FY21.